Welcome back to another installment of the Purple Rain podcast. Number one seed. Yes, welcome back to episode 218 of the Purple Rain podcast. The Kyle Fuller, Jeremy Macklin, Brashad Perryman, Laquan Treadwell, Dante Stallworth, Elvis Gerback, and most recently Roquan Smith episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Thank you all for coming through this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain podcast. Follow this guy on Instagram, on Twitter at SunDef. Follow me on Instagram at simplyas10.prod and on Twitter at simplyas10. And most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. Holidays are over. It is the new year. Happy New Year. Happy 2024 to you all. Hopefully the Ravens do the damn thing this year. We'll talk about that. But if you want to go on Manscaped, get yourself something nice for your friends, family, anybody. Use code PRP to get 20% off your whole order and free international shipping. We have a lot to talk about, but first and foremost, we are the number one seed. We are the best team in the AFC and the best team in the league. Yes, I said it. Not being cocky anymore. It's kind of facts.
Yeah.
But how do you feel right now? I mean, really good win. I was not expecting that win on Sunday. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, I feel great, for lack of better words, man. I mean, honestly, the whole jitters about getting the one seed and, the whole, will the Ravens be rusty? That has just been nothing. I haven't thought about it at all, really, to be honest with you. I'm glad we have the one seed. We need the rest. I mean, our guys, I'm not going to say we're a banged up team, but listen, we were playing practice squad players out there at cornerback last week. So we're going to need the extra time. So I appreciate that. What the Ravens have been able to do on the field, especially Lamar Jackson, man. Lamar Jackson deserves that MVP. So overall, man, I just feel great about this team. Can't wait to get into what we have today. But I wanted to start off with kind of giving props to the Pro Bowlers, right? The Pro Bowlers who made it for this year. I think it was, 7 guys? 7 guys this year, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Queen, Roquan Smith, just read them off here, Kyle Hamilton, Justin Madubuike, Tyler Linderbaum. Man, all these guys just so deserving. Justin Tucker as well. All these guys so deserving of it, man. And I can't be more proud of, especially a guy like Patrick Queen, who's definitely, a friend of the show, as you guys know. From coming from, just being, I've seen the guy get slandered on Twitter for his play
By
in the past couple of years by Ravens fans, you know what I mean? To go from that and, people kind of questioning whether or not he's going to get that big payday someday, whether it be with the Ravens or somewhere else, to, absolutely balling out and then getting that Pro Bowl nod. That is huge for him. So big shout out to Patrick Queen, again, friend of the show. And hopefully him and Roquan Smith, that tandem can be huge for us going into this playoff push, because we are going to need those guys for sure. But what do you say about the Pro Bowlers for this year?
Yeah, I could quite literally go on a whole 10-minute talk about how happy and how proud I am of Patrick Queen. But I'm not going to. But what I will say is that for him, man, drafted at 20 years old, started your first NFL game 2 or 3 weeks after you turned 21. You were just legally allowed to have a drink, no training camp, none of that, no preseason, and kind of how much he's grown as a person and as a football player and as a leader, I'd say. I really can't stress proud is an understatement, honestly. I'm really appreciative of what he's done for me and me and Sutton, and I'm very happy he's able to get that first Pro Bowl nod, because you could tell in the video he was definitely fighting back tears, because I thought even last year he had a shout to make it but didn't. But I'm happy this year. I mean, I know we talk about the Pro Bowl, how sometimes it's not deserving, but for guys like that to have it on your resume, good thing we won't be playing in the Pro Bowl. We will be elsewhere in Las Vegas, but it's good to have that honor as well. And it's kind of a testament to Eric DeCosta and his drafting as well, because he drafted 4 of those guys. I thought Geno Stone should have made it as well. I should have made it 5, but I mean, Hamilton, Queen, Beeks, and Linderbaum, he all drafted since 2020. And that's fantastic. And I mean, obviously Lamar, Tucker, and then he traded for Roquan. But I'm just really happy for all those guys, because they're all well-deserving. Had a couple of snubs, but at the end of the day, hopefully we're playing in February, and hopefully we are not at the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Again, just big shout out to all the Pro Bowlers for this year. And again, hopefully, like you said, we are playing for the championship and not in the Pro Bowl this year. That would be amazing. Just kind of wanted to touch
Yeah.
on that. Let's go ahead and get into the elephant in the room, which is actually what's behind me right now. First time I'm ever using the green screen feature here on our streaming platform that we use. But you guys see the guy right behind me here. That's Dalvin Cook, right? In the Vikings uniform. He's going to be wearing a different type of purple. Want to know why? Because he just signed with the Ravens, or at least agreed to terms. So this is huge news, obviously, right before a big playoff push that the Ravens are trying to make. Alex, I want to come to you first, getting your take on this. I have a bunch to say about it, but I want to get to you first. I know you've processed it already, so I want to get your hot take on this. And everybody else in the chat right now, make sure you drop what you think. Actually, kind of grade this signing, right?
Okay.
For me. Yeah, everybody in the chat. And if you're not watching live right now and you're part of the hashtag replay gang, Alex is ready to give his answer. I know. I'm sorry, bro. Give me one second. The replay gang. If you're watching after the fact, make sure you leave your comments down below in the comment section. We'd appreciate that. Okay, Alex, what say you about Dalvin Cook signing?
If I'm giving it a grade, I'm more like a B plus. It's a practice squad signing.
Mm-hmm.
You're not paying a huge chunk of money. And I think people are kind of like underrating it because if he doesn't look good, he's not going to play. He's not signed to the active roster where he's going to be a scratch or he's going to, have to play and not have any game time. He's on the practice squad. So this is quite literally the definition of a low risk, high reward signing. Like there is actually a no risk, high reward signing. There's no risk in signing Dalvin Cook to your team when you quite literally know how explosive he can be. I mean, he was playing with the Jets, the same Jets who Aaron Rodgers got hurt within 4 plays because his line already was blown up.
Yeah.
The same line Dalvin Cook had to run behind. Breece Hall was doing his thing because Breece Hall is very young and very, very electric. Cook isn't the same, but Cook's behind, I think, a better line. And I think that guy Lamar Jackson, who he'd be lined up next to, is already a threat in itself. So, I mean, I really do. I love it. We do the like it, love it, hate it. I love it for that reason. I think where we're at now, we're January 4th and a player of his caliber is available. Hell yeah, go for it. And like I've talked before, look at the salary of the Super Bowl winning team's running backs and the highest rushers the past couple of years. It's all low. The running back isn't a high paid position where you win a Super Bowl with it.
Right.
And if Dalvin Cook's our leading rusher, you'll see it'll just continue the trend. But yeah, I absolutely love it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I love it too. In terms of the like it, love it, hate it. I like how you put it there. It just shows to me that this team, from top to bottom, from players to coaches, all the way up to the GM and Eric DaCosta, they're all locked in for a Super Bowl push this year. And I get it. It's a practice squad signing, but it's a depth piece, right? And, all it takes is a couple of weeks. We get 2 weeks off, right? We have, obviously this week where we're not really going to be playing a lot of starters. At least I projected. At least we also know Lamar Jackson won't play. And then next week we get the bye because of, the first seed. So there's going to be time for him to get like that ramp up period to have some opportunities, I think, in our first game, in our divisional matchup. And the fact that Dalvin Cook, let me just say this, the fact that Dalvin Cook and Melvin Gordon are competing for RB3 spots, never would have guessed this a couple of years ago, to be honest with you. That is absolutely insane to think about. But I'm excited, to say the least, because you think about the veterans who come to the Ravens, right? It seems like the Ravens, recently at least, in the Eric DaCosta era, I think it's fair to say that the veterans that have come here, they've all kind of rejuvenated or revitalized their career here. Can I interest you in a Jadeveon Clowney? Can I interest you in a Justin Houston? Can I interest you in a Kyle Van Noy? The list goes on. And you might say, oh, Sutton, those are all defensive players. Okay, well, can I interest you in a Kenyon Drake or Devonta Freeman, who all had an increase in yards per attempt once they got to the Ravens? Didn't have crazy good years with us because they were never the RB. Well, sometimes they were the RB1, but they had better years with us, So I think that if history repeats itself, this Dalvin Cook signing could prove to bode well for our offense, especially for this playoff push here. It's kind of giving me like playoff Lenny vibes, except it's playoff Cook vibes. You know what I mean? So maybe later in, maybe later in games when we start to wear down a defensive line, we can plug and play him in there. He starts to rip off a couple of big runs. We lean on the team. We win the game. So that's why I love this signing, to be honest with you. On top of what we already have, Gus Edwards, I really like. Justice Hill, of course, too. But and then Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon, I think his confidence is going to start to build. He's going to get some more carries this week against the Steelers. But Dalvin Cook coming on board, I love it. In short, I want to get to what the Rain Gang is saying here in the chat. Let's see. Kill the Great says, I give it a B+ because I don't think people remember we recently had Devonta Freeman and he was decent with us. So I can only imagine what Dalvin will look like. Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm saying here, right? So
yeah, and that's kind of the history of what the Ravens have been doing. You think about their running backs. You bring up Devonta Freeman, Kenyon Drake. I'll interest you in a Latavius Murray.
Yeah.
I'll interest you in a Justin Forsett, a Mark Ingram. Hell, I'll throw it back to Ricky Williams in 2008.
Sure.
Like, we'll throw it back. I think 2010 or 11. It's like we will bring these older running backs in that aren't in the peak of their career, but they'll have damn good years here. Like Justin Forsett had his best year as a Raven. And that's no coincidence. I think that's kind of how we're built. And I'm glad you brought up all these, vets that we bring in, like how Kyle Van Noy's having a career year, how Jadeveon Clowney's having the most sacks of his career ever. When this is the same Jadeveon Clowney who was playing alongside J.J. Watt, all right? And he has the most sacks of his career in Baltimore. And we're missing Tyus Ballister and David Ojabo. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I kind of forgot Tyus Ballister existed until I
forgot David Ojabo existed until earlier today. I saw somebody make a tweet about him, and then you just mentioned it just now. Yeah.
And Owe has silently 5 sacks.
Real quiet. Real quiet.
It's a quiet 5. I win him, 8 to 10. But hey, he has 3 more games to push that up. Well, 4 if he plays.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm really excited with this signing. I'm glad we're on the same page here because, like, what is the worst? If he doesn't look good, he won't play. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's practice squad. I mean, are people upset that Jake Funk hasn't played? Like he's there. If he's needed, he's needed. So,
right.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Love it, love it, love it. Let's see. We got the Don in the house as my YouTube family, Alex Sutton, and the best moderators on YouTube. Shout out to you, Don. We appreciate you for coming through, supporting as always. We got Mod Roosh in the chat. What's going on, Mod Roosh? Shout out to Mod Roosh. Says Dalvin was in a stagnant offensive scheme. He's coming where he can play with Lamar Jackson and can start making plays like he used to. This is another reason why I love the signing, because people might point to this signing, fans of other teams who may be hating on the Ravens a little bit around this time of year, since we're doing oh so well for ourselves. They might be saying, hey, look, well, Dalvin Cook didn't do jack shit with the Jets. Excuse my French, right? But it's like, okay, you look at the situation that he was in. I mean, over the offseason when, they acquired him, it seemed like it was going to be a dynamite pickup. You pair him with Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, everybody else who they have on there, and that defense as well. They were going to take off. But Aaron Rodgers gets hurt on the first drive of the season, and everything just kind of goes to shit, to be honest with you. And you're a product of your environment is basically what I'm trying to say here. It was a bad team. He was in a bad situation, wrong place, wrong time. He didn't produce, but you totally flip the switch there. You flip the script, right? And you go to the right team at the right time. It kind of rejuvenates your energy a little bit. And, once he gets into that locker room, that energy is going to be infectious. It's already infectious in Baltimore right now in the castle. So once he gets there and he realizes, oh, crap, I can win a Super Bowl this year. All I have to do is just turn back the clocks just a little bit just for this one postseason run, and I can have me a ring. That sounds like a hell of a deal, to be honest with you, if if it's me. But I'm just saying. Shout out to Mod Rouge. Appreciate your comment, bro.
Yeah. And Mr. Sutton, the people are bringing this up. I would, kind of want to ask them, okay, so you obviously watch football since he went to the Jets. Let's talk about his last year with the Vikings when he was the lead back. Oh, he just ran for 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns, 39 receptions, 2 touchdowns. Like, it's not like we're talking about when we signed Le'Veon Bell. I completely understood why people were upset with that or they didn't like it. This right here is completely different. Like, this is a 1,000-yard rusher, not 3, 4, 5. Like last season, 1,000-yard rusher. That's why I'm all for it. So,
yeah. A+ signing to me, at least. I mean, I just think it doesn't hurt at all. Like you said, it's no risk. No. It's no risk, high reward. So A+ for me. It just shows that from top to bottom, from players to coaches to all the way up to general managers, this team is locked in on winning a Super Bowl this year. Our window is open. Our window is open. We're trying to crawl through it. We're trying to jump through it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So it's time to go ahead and get into our next segment of the show. Listen, again, if you have more thoughts on Dalvin Cook signing with the Ravens, make sure you drop it down below in the comment section because we do want to get to those after the show. But we got to get into the preview of this week's matchup for the Ravens. Ravens are taking on the Steelers this week. It's Steelers week in week 18. This game, of course, as we all know, does not really count or matter for anything at this point in the season because the Ravens have already locked up the 1 seed. We already know that, right? So now it's time. Let's go ahead and bring up our Purple Rain preview slides here, comparing the Ravens to the Steelers. So as you can see, the Ravens are passing for 233 yards per game, which is ranked 21st in the league, and rushing for 160 a game, which is ranked first in the league. Their passing yards allowed a game is 196, and they're allowing 106 yards on the ground per game. Now, here's where it gets interesting for me. 29.6 points per game. If you want to round up, that's 30 points a game. I cannot remember the last time the Ravens were putting up 30 a game. I mean, the 2019 season is probably the last time, I would guess, right, Alex?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, 2019 season, but this is just amazing. I don't want us to take for granted what's happening right now with the Ravens. No. This is truly a special time with this offense. Everything is firing on all cylinders. We saw that against the Dolphins. It was a preview, I think, against the 49ers, and hopefully there's more to come. But I just kind of wanted to point that out. At the end of a season, we are ranked second in the league in points per game. For the Ravens, that's amazing. That's incredible. And only allowing 16.4 points a game, which is also ranked first in the league. Defense is just a staple of this team. We all know that. And then you go over to the Steelers side of things, right? They're throwing for 204 passing yards a game, which is ranked 29th in the league. Rushing for 116, which is ranked 12th in the league. Passing yards allowed a game, 234, and they're allowing 115 on the ground per game. They're scoring about 18 points a game, which is ranked 27th in the league, and they're allowing 19.6 points per game, which is ranked 7th in the league. Now, if you ask me, just looking at these numbers here, you can kind of get that the Steelers are like a poor man's Ravens right now. Just looking at the numbers, just purely looking at the numbers, because they're kind of proportionate in ways. Like, we're a better rushing team than a passing team, and the same goes for them. And it's just things like that. And then also the defensive numbers, the points per game allowed, in proportion to the points per game that we score. I don't know if you guys can see here. I think our boxes might be in the way a little bit of the Ravens stats, but basically you guys see what I'm saying here. Like the Ravens, they're kind of like proportionate to the Steelers in a lot of ways, but the Steelers just are a lot worse. Now, Alex, based off of those numbers that we're looking at here, what can you kind of assume is going to go down in this game, or give us like some keys to victory? What do you think that the Ravens are going to do? Obviously, Lamar's not going to play. So what do you think is going to happen with Tyler Huntley and company?
I'll be honest. I hope we win because I've seen the Steelers ruin our season many times. I hope we go out there to ruin theirs. But I'm really not expecting that much. I'm expecting a nasty, sloppy game, which there's going to be fumbles. But I am expecting the Ravens to pull this out. This team has a lot of pride. I think that's a testament to our head coach, John Harbaugh, who kind of been cooking recently. I hope the team feels the same way as well, whether it be Huntley, whether it be Josh Johnson, or whether it be Malik Cunningham, whether he's throwing passes or catching passes. I do think we pull it out. I'll be honest with you. Like, I've been the one going with the Steelers recently. I think somehow, some way, we pull out some nasty ass game. It could be a Tylan Wallace game. I think he's gonna get tons of reps at receiver. Or it could be the Laquan Treadwell game where he shows everybody why he was a first round pick. Or it could be the Jake Funk game, his first game back at M&T Bank Stadium playing for his hometown team. I'm not too sure, but I do think that we pull it out. And if it's an ugly weather game, the Ravens love that type of game. They love that game because they can run the ball on you nonstop. It's like their perfect scenario.
Yeah. I definitely agree with what you're saying there. Now, I don't know if Jake Funk will be activated for this game. Do you think they'll activate a Jake Funk for this one? I mean, uh,
I don't.
I don't really see them activating a Jake Funk. I feel like it'll be mainly like a Melvin Gordon, Justice Hill. I think Justice Hill's going to play a decent amount of snaps, if I'm honest with you.
That's my. I mean, I wouldn't mind him playing like the first quarter or something. Like I was talking about it now. Like I wanted Lamar to play like a couple of drives, but at the same time, I'm looking at the Steelers like Minka and TJ Watt. They're Steelers. They are they are meant for this rivalry. They hit hard. We've seen
Yeah.
TJ Watt end a couple of Ravens seasons. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, you know what, throw him out there in this nasty weather and sleet and snow and rain. Like, yeah, I want him to play a couple of drives, but I'm not gonna sit here and say the sky is falling. Um, if it was a game that was maybe clear weather, I would have preferred it, but I just don't want to repeat of what happened. But I think this is a completely different team. I think Lamar is a leader now. I think this defense has different leaders. You have Roquan, you have PQ, Jadeveon, and you have KVN, Kyle Van Noy, who's already won 2 Super Bowls. So I hope it's not the same. I just hope we don't start out flat and go down 14-0 again in the divisional, because it's gonna be 3 weeks since they all last played when we play next.
Yeah.
The starters, that is. But yeah. I mean, I know your take on it. You don't care. No big deal that he's not playing. That's how it should be. We
Yeah,
should
I
have learned
mean,
our lesson.
yeah, exactly, exactly. I think that's the main thing here. These guys are professionals, right? They've been playing football their whole lives. I said it the other day in a YouTube short. Um, if they don't come out ready to play and fired up, uh, I think that's more of like a coaching thing, to be honest with you. If they don't have the guys ready to go, which I think they will. I think that they will. I think that they totally understand what happened back in 2019. They totally understand what happened back in even 2021 against the Bills. They understand those things. They understand or 2020 against the Bills, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
it was
understand
21 when it happened, though. To be fair,
right. Yeah, because it was in January. But yeah, man, I just think that Lamar is locked in. I know you saw the clip from the Ravens Wired where the guys are getting fired up on offense, and he's like, "Yo, like, calm the f down. Like, we got to stay locked in. Like, he's ready to go. That loss against the Titans in the divisional round, it still stings. It stings him worse than it stings any Ravens fan, anybody watching this show right now, me or Alex, like, because Lamar Jackson was right there, and he promised this team a Super Bowl the day he got drafted, and he came very close that year. That divisional, I mean, he was 2 games away from the Super Bowl, and for it to end like that, and
yeah.
him saying that, like, it just never felt right, like, couldn't get anything going. I think that this team is more mature now, like you were saying, and I think that they
Mhm.
they they kind of get settled into the game. Once we get settled into a game, as long as it's not out of hand or anything like that, we'll be good. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. We've seen how the defense has been operating recently too. I mean, they kind of give up a little bit early, and then they just shut everything down. Once they kind of learn, they analyze what's going on. That's what big shout out to Mike McDonald as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about it now, and maybe it's just recency bias, but I think this team is much better than the one from a couple of years back. I look at the offensive weapons, maybe not the line, but I think the weapons are a lot better. How I think Nelson Aguilar is wide receiver 1 or 2 on that team, but like he's wide receiver 4 in this team right now. So our weapons are completely different. Uh, hopefully, I mean, our running backs, Ingram was hurt, Andrews was hurt. This team's a lot more banged up, but the bye is doing a lot more positive right now than it would have been years ago. Um, what I like though is that we've had to grind out games like some of them, even the Rams game, we had to put up a game tying drive, or we went to go ahead drive and they came back and then put 3 up. Uh, it's not, the guys aren't sitting there dancing around on the sideline like they were. Like this team is like you said, fully locked in and fully ready for
Well, Zay
our
Flowers and Odell, they definitely did dance on the sideline.
they, but not the quarterback though. I should have said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were dancing and that was absolutely hilarious though. You're right, you're right. But yeah, but I still think it's a different culture, different attitude. Like Roosh says.
Yeah.
I think that's why I have a lot higher hopes. And the biggest person for me outside of Lamar is Roquan Smith. I do not believe Roquan Smith will allow this team to put up the performance they put up a couple years ago at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Like 2019 feels like your first relationship. You know, it was amazing when it happened. You were in La La Land, and like then you got broken up with like shit. Like, but you learned a lot from it. You learned a whole lot from it. Hope
Right.
this team now they matured. They learned a lot from it.
Yeah.
So, and hopefully, John going to see his brother Jim at the national championship. And the only way I'll be rooting for Michigan is if they win it, we win it. That's the only way I'll be happy if Michigan wins.
Right.
But hopefully, if John sees his brother win, like, you know what? Let me go and do the damn thing. Have the Harbaughs take over the football world.
That would be insane that, you know, the Harbaugh brothers 12 years ago, they played each other in the Super Bowl and the big brother won. And then 12 years later, exactly 12 years later, the little brother goes to the national championship in college football and the big brother goes to the Super Bowl and they both win it. That would be another amazing story. You know, by the way, I mean, it's been 12 years since that last Super Bowl and then 12 years since the last Super Bowl before that. So every 12 years, it seems like we go to a Super Bowl. And this is the, what, 2012, 20. Yeah, this is, yeah, it's about that time.
Yeah.
It's about that time if history
Yeah.
repeats itself. You know, quiet is kept, quiet is kept. But okay. And no, but I also like what you said a lot about Roquan Smith. I mentioned it the other day on the audio show that I do during the week sometimes. That was, I mean, Roquan Smith and Lamar Jackson are both quarterbacks. Roquan Smith is the quarterback of the defense. And you can see that. I mean, he was talking to Lamar Jackson. He said, you make sure the offense is locked in and I got the defense. Like, you know, that sort of thing. That type of onus that he's taking upon himself to kind of be the leader of that defense and galvanize the troops, that is incredible to me. And I love seeing that from a Roquan Smith, especially only in his second year. Not only has he bought into being a Raven, he is a natural born Raven. Like, that is what he is through and through. So yeah.
Yes.
Also want to get
Thank you.
also want to get to my bad. You had something?
No, I was just like, you just took the words out of my mouth. That's all. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. We love Roquan Smith. So moving on to the unit strength. This is basically for the season right here because we're in the last week of the season here. So you can kind of see the measurements of who was good at pass protection, pass rush, run defense, and run block. I have the Steelers and Ravens circled on each chart here. You can see the pass protection for the Steelers is way below average. So maybe we expect this to be a game where, I don't know, maybe I can predict the sack for one Tavius Robinson. I'll predict the sack for him. I like that one. Let's see, pass rush. The Steelers, of course, we know they got TJ Watt, Hightower, and those boys. They, you know, that's a constant there. That's a constant. And it's just a shame that, you know, TJ Watt is getting his career wasted in such a dull moment in the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise because they don't have a quarterback. And everybody wants to blame Mike Tomlin and, oh, it's fire Mike Tomlin. And, oh, they hate the fact that he keeps having these winning seasons but no playoff success. They don't have a quarterback. And for the last couple of years of Ben Roethlisberger's career, he couldn't throw deep. So, I mean, he turned into like a Drew Brees late in his career. Yeah. I think that once they figure out the whole quarterback situation, they'll be back on top. But again, it's a shame. And, you know, you don't really get too much empathy from me as a Ravens fan, Steelers fans. I'm talking to you, Boz. But it does kind of suck that TJ Watt is getting his career wasted. I'll say that. Now, moving on to run block. The run block, I mean, the Steelers are pretty much bang average, and we are a little bit above average there. Of course, we are the best rushing team in the league, so I'd expect that. And then run defense around the same there, a little bit average for the Steelers and a little bit below average for the Ravens, which is also expected. But what do you see from looking at this chart, Alex?
Yeah, I'm glad you say that because, like, about TJ Watt, the Ravens, man, like, we have to play TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, and Zadarius Smith. Well, TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith, Garrett and Zadarius Smith, and then Hendrickson, 6 games in the year. Like, that is hell for our linemen. And I actually got an argument about, like, the whole Watt Garrett. Me personally, I'm taking, like, who do I want in this Ravens defense? If I could take one, I'm taking Watt personally. You can't go wrong. I just think he just brings a whole lot different than what Garrett does because Garrett's insane too. But, like, Watt, bro, like, I think he's underrated to a point. Like, you look at his numbers and, like, wow, like, he really put up those type of sacks with that forced fumble. Hell, with that interception.
Yeah.
Hashtag come to the Ravens, TJ Watt. if you're
Oh,
really about it, come to the Ravens. Sorry, Boz. I would love that. Never going to happen a day, but talking about the Steelers as well, I think they traded away Dotson. He's been like one of the highest rated linemen as well. Like that kind of is how the Steelers season's gone. Like they just really haven't been able to put together. But Mason Rudolph is putting the team on his back. And could Mason Rudolph be the starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers next year? Probably not. But he's having his Linsanity run right now. But I look at these charts right now and looking at our run defense personally, kind of stuff we've been talking about all season, and we were kind of exposed in the first quarter last week, and
yep.
thankfully our offense went up early. They had to go away from the run, and that's something that like I know that our defense is doing really good now. It's still something I'm keeping my eye on because I don't want it to get exposed at the wrong time. We know what time I'm talking about. But outside of that, I think pass rush is looking good as well. Owe had a sack last week. I think Clowney had one too. Queen was real close to getting one, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I like where we're at right now. That's really the most I can say. And then run blocking as well. You wonder why these running backs are getting the yards they are because how good their run blocking is. And Kevin Zeitler, by the way, snubbed for Pro Bowl. It's been how many years in a row? Snubbed. But I do want to give a shout out to Ben Cleveland. He was balling at right guard.
Yeah. I think Geno Stone kind of got snubbed too. 7, 8
Bro,
picks this year? Come on now.
how?
Give him a nod. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't get it.
Me neither.
Brandon
Okay.
Stevens. Brandon Stevens.
Oh, yeah. B. Steve. He's had
talk
himself
about
a
it.
nice season.
Y'all would give it to Sauce Gardner because he wears the cool chain, has a cool name.
And his name is Sauce.
Not the former running back turn safety turn defensive back, bro. Yeah. Brandon Stevens has better. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna sound like that Raven fan, but bro, Brandon Stevens was robbed. Stevens locked up your favorite wide receiver, I bet.
Let's see. Tanja Bowman says Kevin Zeitler helps the lineman next to him. That's why John Simpson said he was snubbed. Interesting. I mean, it's hard for a lineman. There's a lot of things that just fly under the radar that people don't get credit for. These linemen don't get credit for, more specifically. But yeah, we give them credit. Shout out to Kevin Zeitler. Shout out to Morgan Moses. Shout out to Tyler Linderbaum. John Simpson, who's been having himself a great year. I mean, that was probably the biggest question on that offensive line heading into this season was that left guard spot, and he has locked it down, to be honest with you. And then the rotating carousel of Ronnie Stanley and Patrick McCary as well. That's been, golf clap, right? And then Ben Cleveland had himself a good game last week as well. Yeah, so big shout out to him. But we do have our first super chat donation coming from the Don. Thank you so much, Don. We appreciate you. Says, Alex and Sutton, happy New Year. Everyone is worried about all this time between the next meaningful game. Are the Ravens allowed to have more practices during the bye or longer padded practices? Question mark. That's a good question.
I think somebody asked Jeff Surirek about this, and he said they'll be practicing next week, Wednesday through Friday.
Okay. So, I mean, normal. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, you can't really watch film. I mean, maybe you can if you look at who's going to play and you can kind of predict who's going to win. But even then, like, we've seen upsets. Like, me personally, I wasn't expecting the Titans to beat the Patriots in 2019. I was fully expecting the Patriots to beat them because it's Tom Brady.
Right.
But, yeah, they can practice Wednesday through Friday next week. And the good news is Ardarius Washington has been practicing.
Yes.
Kyle Hamilton returned to practice. Yep. Only guy that didn't practice was Zay Flowers, and he has a whole week to get ready. So that's good.
Yeah, I mean, there's, as we all know, going into week 17, week 18 in the playoffs of an NFL season, I mean, everybody's hurt with something. Even if they're not on the I-word report, everybody's dealing with something. So having that extra time, man, I mean, you can say that we'll be rusty, but I think we'll be more brand new than rusty, to be honest with you. Because, again, the whole rusty thing, I think it's a mentality. I really do think it's a mentality because, again, these guys don't forget how to play football, and they're still going to be conditioning. And, of course, it won't be exactly game speed, and that might throw off their rhythm just a little bit. But again, once these guys get settled into that game, as long as we don't let it get out of hand, again, we go down 14-0 or something like that in the first quarter or the first half, then we'll be fine, guys. I really do think we'll be fine because this team, again, is more mature. That's the theme of the evening, maturity.
Can you bring up K-Dog's comment for me? Because like if we could like pin this one, I would love to. He says, look, here's what I know. As an O-lineman, if they aren't calling your name, you're doing your job.
Yep.
Let's think about it. When did they ever talk about Marshall Yanda?
Never. Right under the radar.
They never talked about number 73.
Yeah.
Like when Ogden was playing, never talked about number 75. Like that's good. No penalties.
I mean, it's the same thing for corners. Same thing for cornerbacks too. If the top corners, like you remember when Darrelle Revis was in his prime, Revis Island, they weren't even throwing his way, so they weren't mentioning him. You know, unless they were mentioning the fact that they weren't throwing his way.
Yep.
Right. So yeah, man. I mean, this is a great point by K-Dog here. Yeah.
Oh, give Falele some love. Yeah, he's coming at right tackle as well. I mean, it's really small things, but if this rotating tackle thing really like works, it could be something they're talking about, you know, down the road. All I'm gonna say. But I did see an article about us potentially paying Patrick Queen because you look at the 2 number 1 seeds and guess what they both have in common? A star-studded linebacking duo. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Yeah. I mean, people devaluing linebackers and safeties, and we've got the best group of both of those position groups. We've got the best in the league, you know, and it's showing. It's showing up. So it's all about the details in the defense, and we've got that this year, and I love it. I love it for us. Yeah. All right, Alex, let's go ahead and get into some score predictions for this game. Ooh, I know you said you got us winning this one. Yeah. I think it's going to be a tough one. I think it's going to be a close one because you got to remember the Steelers are playing for something. They are playing for a playoff spot, you know, and they are very close. So I think it's going to be very difficult, and it's going to be at the bank. But I'm going to have this game. I'm gonna have this one as a loss. I am. Okay. I'm gonna go 27-21 Steelers.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I've got it for, man. I just think that they need it a little bit more than us. And again, this is a little bit less meaningful than a preseason game, and that might be sort of like a hot take, but to me it is, because we don't need it at all. You know, it's not like we're trying to ramp up for a regular season or anything like that. We're trying to cool down and get ready, take a breath before we have this playoffs, before we go to the dance. So I think that the Steelers go ahead and take it.
Well, I have us winning. Let's get weird. All right, let's get weird. Mm-hmm. Give me a 21-19 Ravens win. I think we pull it out by the hair on our chin. And this is kind of our get back, boss. Yeah. You ruined my Christmas in 2016. You ruined my my 2021 when I thought the Ravens were somehow going to make with Tyler Huntley at quarterback. You've ruined many years. You've ruined many a game. You ruined my earlier this year, all those drops. I'm tired of the Steelers ruining my days. I want to ruin your year. All right. So I have the Ravens winning it, and you get knocked out the playoffs. The only way I'd be cool with them beating us is if the Bills don't make it, because that would be absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
But I do have us winning. But if we were to lose, like, I'm not going to sit here and pull my hair out over it or, like, go into, like, start writing think pieces or something like that.
Yeah. No. I was going to say, I mean, again, like you mentioned, if the Steelers were to beat us on Saturday, that is, and the Jaguars beat the Titans, which is very likely, and the Dolphins beat the Bills don't make the playoffs. If those things happen, then the Bills don't make the playoffs. I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I got the Ravens dropping this one only because I feel like the Steelers needed more. I'm not gonna sit here and say they wanted more, because I don't think that they wanted more. I just think that they needed more. Yeah. So that is our score prediction there. Let me see. So Boz says 24-17 Steeler gang. Okay. JD Killswitch says 17-14 Ravens. We got Dre says 23-16 Ravens, and Raven Ron says Ravens 20, Steelers 14. Okay, so the Rain Gang, you know, fully backing the Ravens here, which I expect. I think we're all kind of expecting it to be sort of a lower scoring game. This will be the first time in a couple of weeks that we don't score 30 points. I think everybody's kind of coming to a general consensus there, unless Tyler Huntley just decides to completely just show his ass and just go off. That would be crazy. Andrew says here, I really don't want the Bills to make it. Yeah, the Bills are hot, man. 4 in a row. Josh Allen, if Lamar Jackson didn't exist, Josh Allen would be MVP this season at this point.
You think so?
I think so. I mean, I think the touchdowns and just kind of willing his team back into the postseason again and being contenders. I mean, they look better than the Chiefs right now. I'll say that. And Josh Allen has the numbers to support it. So I think that he would probably, at least it wouldn't be unanimous, of course, but I think it would be close at least between him or like what, Dak or
CMC.
Purdy. Oh, McCaffrey. Yeah.
Purdy's out of it. Purdy's out.
Purdy's
that
out.
game against us ruined it. Yeah, it's out.
That took him out of contention.
Good luck. And Tyreek, low key, if he would have hit 2,000 yards, he maybe would have had more shouts for it. But
yeah.
Well,
all right. So that is.
I'm sorry. One thing I want to talk about real quick. I believe it was Isaiah Likely talking to Mina Kimes. I believe.
Yeah.
She was kind of talking about. Did you see the clip by any chance?
Of their interview?
Yes.
Yes, I did watch it.
Okay. Did you kind of pick up what he was talking about with the offense from last year and this year?
No. Remind me. What was he saying?
So basically, she was asking about how last year and this year the differences, and he was like, Todd Monken's really been allowing Lamar when we called plays last year. The play that was called was a play they were running. This year, Monken has given Lamar that ability to grow, and if you don't like what you see, you can make your own, your audibles, you can change the play. And I'm just like, how long have we been calling for that?
It's that trust.
How long have we been asking for this?
Yeah.
I mean, even the Jags game, the first drive when the communication wasn't working, and we go down there and put up 3. I mean, first drive, it wasn't 7, but it was pretty damn good drive.
Right.
It's like when you trust your quarterback, man, good things happen. And now look, you trust him, you get him with Todd Monken, and guess what? Number 2 MVP. But we're looking at bigger things. Super Bowl MVP. But
no, I mean,
just wanted to put that out there.
Likely said it, and Lamar says it all the time too. After the games, when they're interviewing him, they say, he says that it's really cool that Monken gives him the ability to kind of make his checks at the line and go with what he feels, basically go with his gut. And what he sees at the line of scrimmage, which is important for a quarterback because nobody sees it better than the guy who's right up at the line, So love that from Isaiah Likely and Todd Monken, Lamar Jackson. Todd Monken has just been everything that we could have asked for, to be honest with you. Everything that we could have asked for. Just a great hire. Mike McDonald. We've got some of the best coordinators, I think, in this league, to be honest with you right now. So, yeah. That's our score predictions. That's our preview of the Steelers game. Now it is time to go ahead and get into our very last week of NFL picks. It's NFL Week 18, the very last week of the season, guys. It's flown by. It has absolutely flown by. But of course, we got to show you how we did last week. We tied last week. Okay. 68% apiece. I think we went 11 for 16, that is, last week. And, not too bad, not too shabby, but looking to do a little bit better this week. But this week might be a little bit more crazy since it's the last week of the season. Certain guys are resting. But then again, that might make it a little bit more predictable because a lot of people are lining up their sports bet. I've seen on the internet. They're saying like, oh, this guy needs a certain amount of catches to get this incentive. So bet on his over and all this. I'm like, it sounds good. It sounds good, right? But we're going to do some picks, some money line picks for you guys here. So go ahead and let me go ahead and cue this music for us. Let me go ahead and cue this music.
Oh, for the last time, the 2023 regular season, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. Guess what? We're here. My goal is to get over 80% this week. I'm going to try to hit the 100. But then we start off. Texans and the Colts. Give me the Texans on Saturday night in front of the nation. CJ Stroud, this is your moment. Take it. Get your team to the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Texans in this one as well. I think we'll see some heroics from CJ Stroud. I'm thinking at least 2 touchdown passes and a good showing from that defense, and they'll take care of the Colts. So, yeah, give me the Texans. I agree.
Next up, the Jags and the Titans. We're into Sunday now. I'm picking the Jags. The Jags still have a lot to play for.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they got to win this game, the Jags.
Yeah, I'm going to go Jags in this one, too, for the exact same reason. Again, like, they're trying to make this playoff push. I mean, of course, they're kind of stumbling into the postseason if they do get in. So, but, yeah, the Titans really don't have anything to play for right now. So, give me the Jags.
Yeah, next up, the Vikings and the Lions. Vikings with the Hall of Shame performance on Sunday night last week. Give me the Lions here. I like the Lions going into the playoffs, going in on a dub after the
Give me the pissed off Lions. Give me the pissed off Lions because they did not deserve what transpired last Saturday night against the Cowboys. Just a blatant robbery, to be honest with you. And it's crazy because that same officiating crew is officiating the Steelers and Ravens game this week, which is very odd. I don't know why they're not just sat down for the rest of the season because there's a lot of money. I'm just going off on a little tangent right now. There's a lot of money that goes into this NFL thing. The stakes are very high. So you cannot just completely throw games like that. That just does not make any sense. If we need to take a second to go back and get the call right or whatever, fine. But that sort of negligence, can't have it. Not in this league. It hurts the integrity more than it already. Other implementation, the whole fines and everything like that. Man, this has been a long season in terms of the administrative side of things in the NFL, to be honest with you. But it's all kind of come to a head with what happened on Saturday night. So I think that they should either fine those refs or at least sit them down for the rest of the season. You agree?
I do, and they have all these camera angles. Don't sit here and tell me that there wasn't one camera on them. Telling me, I mean, we saw that he was eligible receiver. Don't sit here and tell me you couldn't have seen that in real time, because I know you can. So, this is just me speaking as a neutral. Like, that was awful. You know, you cannot have that happening. Dan Campbell had every right to be pissed off. And
yeah.
Hey, I know. I mean, it's crazy how he went for it again, but that just, yeah. Give me the pissed off Lions. I was actually at a Buffalo Wild Wings watching this game on Saturday, wearing my Lions jersey, and me and my table were all screaming when they, hit for the 2-point conversion, and there's a flag. I'm like, oh, like probably excessive celebration, whatever. Lions win, and I see it. And I'm like, there's no way that just happened, and that's kind of just been the NFL this year. In prime time, it's either the refs or just the bad games, and the refs took it over. So, yeah, not a good look.
No.
Moving on, though, the Falcons and the Saints. Either one of these teams still has a chance to win the NFC South and punch their ticket to the playoffs.
Terrible.
They just need the Buccaneers to lose. So with that being said, I don't know who these Saints are. I really don't. I thought they were going to lose to the Bucs last week, but they didn't. The Falcons, I don't know who they are. I know they're idiots for not pursuing Lamar Jackson, I'll tell you that, though.
Right.
But give me the Saints here. At home, I do like the Saints.
Yeah, I was gonna go with the Saints at home too. This one kind of feels like a coin flip, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, both teams have a chance to still win the division as long as the Bucs lose. But yeah, I'll go with the Saints since they are at home. I'll give them the nod.
Yes. Next up, we have the Jets and the Patriots. And by the way, if you are new here, to all 80 people watching, like the video, subscribe if you're new. Go live every Monday and Thursday, and there's some content sprinkled around thanks to this guy. Next up, the Jets and the Patriots. I like the Patriots in this one.
Yeah, the Jets, they feel like they've completely just kind of given up on the season. Of course, I mean, it's kind of been a very stressful season as a Jets fan because you go into the season thinking that, we've got Aaron Rodgers, we've got Dalvin Cook. We're top 10 in the Super Bowl odds, right? Because of all of these things, and it's looking good. But then for what happened in week one and what happened over the course of the season, benching their quarterback and then bringing him back and then benching him again. And it's been a roller coaster of emotions and mostly lows, not a lot of highs. So, yeah, I'll give it to the Patriots on this one. At home, right? In New England? Yeah, give me New England.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to be playing just for pride and for Bill Belichick. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, the Bucs and the Panthers. Give me the Bucs. Give me a pissed off Baker Mayfield. Easy.
Yeah, give me the Bucs as well, especially after dropping that one last week to the Saints. Yeah, I'll take the Bucs.
Yeah, and if he really has a chance to do something really cool, taking the Bucs back to the playoffs. Everybody kind of wrote them off without Brady, and Baker Mayfield, the former number 1 overall pick, coming in and having a pretty good season. I'll be honest, I don't know who's going to win the comeback player of the year, but I think Baker has to be in that conversation, along with Flacco and DeMar Hamlin, obviously. But shout out to Baker, man. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Moving on, the Browns and the Bengals. Joe Flacco's not playing for the Browns. You know what? Give me the Bengals to finally get their first division win of the season. No way they go 0-6, right?
Bro, imagine sitting Flacco in preparation for a playoff game in 2024. That is insane to think about.
The Linsanity run has to end, bro. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the Joe Flacco meat goblin. I'm tired. I want his ass on a plate. I want them bounce round one. I don't care. I want them to get blown out.
Yeah.
I do not care.
Yeah, I mean, because it just feels like the little brother in the division who's just, being irritating and trying to take that top spot. And everybody's talking, maybe they could do something this year. No, man. No, I don't like it. Hopefully they do get bounced round one, but I wouldn't mind playing them, to be honest with you. I really wouldn't. K-Dog saying here, can we get 50 likes so the kids ain't eating? You heard the man.
Yeah.
Go and like the video. Subscribe to the channel. We'd appreciate it. Yeah. All right. But yeah, we can go ahead and move along there. I know I'm going to go with the Browns as well, by the way.
Yeah. Roquan Smith like to meet that quarterback in the backfield. I won't say his name anymore. Thank you for what you've done, but the old days are the old days. I am over it. Moving on, the Bears and the Packers. Tell you what, Jordan Love's playing some really good football.
Yes.
I don't know if you watched the Sunday night game, man. Packers did their thing. I'm happy for Jordan Love. Getting a lot of slander. He's doing good this year. I like the Packers in this one.
Ooh, I think this is actually going to be a really good game. Of course, this is a big rivalry game. We can obviously see the two quarterbacks of the future, Justin Fields and Jordan Love, at the helm of their respective teams. I think this is going to be a good one. I don't know. I don't know who to go with. You know what? I'm going to go with Chicago. I'm going to go with Chicago on this one. I think we picked all the same teams up to this point. This one is also kind of like a coin flip for me, but I'll go with Justin Fields and the Bears on this one. I don't think Jordan Love owns them just yet. He's got to sign some more paper. He's got more paperwork to do.
I've seen rumors that they might get rid of Fields. I don't know what's up with that and with the whole case.
I think they go for Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, I feel like that's Fields, Ohio State, Marvin Harrison, Ohio State. Oh my God, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, LSU. That's what I think a smart franchise would do. It's the same franchise that traded Roquan Smith as well, but he won it out. But they had a good offseason, but they just, I don't know. Not too sure. Moving on, though. The Cowboys and your Commanders, 425.
Yeah, this one's real simple for me. I'm going to go Cowboys. News came out that Jacoby Brissett would start, and then all of a sudden he's not going to start, so Sam Howell's going to play again. I think Sam Howell's confidence is a little bit shaken at this point. Of course, it's the end of the season. They're not playing for anything. Give me the Cowboys. I think they steamroll them.
Yeah, give me the Cowboys as well. Next up, the Broncos and the Raiders. The Jarrett Stidham-led Broncos against Aiden O'Connell-led Raiders. If you would have told me it'd be Stidham against O'Connell in Week 18, just some of the games, it feels like a useless week in some sense, because there's going to be 2 or 3 meaningful games, only 3 or 4, and the rest are just kind of nobody cares about them. I'm picking Raiders in this one. No Stidham revenge game, but yeah, this extra week is kind of.
I think this one will be a low scoring affair, but I'm going to go with the Raiders as well.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we do have the Eagles and the Giants. If the Giants win this game, Eagles are in hell. But I don't think they do. I think the Eagles win this.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Eagles too. Again, I think that the Eagles, they know they need one. They need one rolling into the postseason. Another loss, I think, would really, really shake the confidence of this team as a whole, especially a divisional loss against a much weaker opponent. Give me the Eagles in this one.
Yep. Moving on, the Seahawks and the Cardinals. The Cardinals off that big win against the Eagles, and the Seahawks need to win this game if they want to make the playoffs. Why do I want to say Cardinals?
Right? But no, I'm going to take Seahawks. I'm going Seattle.
I'm going to go Seattle, but I feel like.
Wait, I didn't hear you there. Your mic was cutting out. Oh wow, can't hear you. Let's see. Hello.
We good now? We
Yeah,
good?
I can hear you now.
All right, cool. Yeah, give me the Seahawks.
Okay, yeah, me too.
All right, moving on. We have the Rams and the Niners. Give me the Niners.
Uh, mm, good one. I mean, the Niners not playing Christian McCaffrey, right? Probably not playing Brock Purdy, right? So we're gonna see Sam Darnold versus. Uh, why do I want to say Rams? I want to say Rams. I'm gonna go Rams in this one. The Rams are one of the best teams in the league. I'll just say that they have one of the best offenses, if you ask me. That overtime game showed me all I needed to know. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are a top 5 receiving core in this league, maybe top 3 when it's all said and done. But yeah, I'll go with the Rams in this one.
Yeah, I'm going with the Niners. I think Sam Darnold's going to be playing for a little bit, but the Rams, yeah, 100%. They're playing Wentz versus Darnold. Like, who would have thought? Like, that could have been like the starting NFL game at a point. Them starting. But yeah, I like the Niners in this one.
Yeah.
Moving on, Chiefs and the Chargers. I actually got the Chargers winning this.
Nah, give me the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then our final game is the Bills and the Dolphins Sunday night.
Love it.
This game, like, I love this means something.
Yes.
I don't know, because on one hand the Dolphins have got to win this after getting their ass whooped by the Ravens, but at the same time the Bills, they're on a 4-game winning streak.
Yeah.
Not really a convincing win last week against the Patriots. A win nonetheless. You know what? I'm not gonna go against Josh Allen. He pisses me off sometimes, but damn it, I've seen him make plays. He's a big moose as a quarterback. Give me the Bills. And they squeeze in the playoffs and play the Chiefs round 1.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Buffalo as well in this one. I think that Josh Allen has himself a day. I think they just really let him loose throwing the football. I mean, because of course both teams needed, but the Bills, I think that they wanted just a little bit more up in Buffalo than they do in Miami. So yeah, give me the Bills in this one. Give me the Bills.
And that is your Week 18 final picks of the regular season. Thank you all for coming through and listening.
Also another thing too. One more thing about the Dolphins. No more Bradley Chubb. You know, since
yes.
For his
what a dumb decision.
I know, to still play him when being down by such a deficit. I get it, but yeah, no Bradley Chubb. So I think that Josh Allen hangs back there in that pocket and he dices him up for 300 plus. If you ask me. But yeah. Those are our picks for the 2023 season. Man, it feels like it's flown by, man. It really does not feel like it's been 18 weeks of football. It just doesn't. But it has. The playoffs are right around the corner. So don't think that the content is going anywhere, because there's still plenty of content coming your way. Of course, the Ravens are the 1 seed in the AFC, so plenty to talk about at all fronts. On pretty much any day. So make sure you stay locked into the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the like button as well while you're in here watching the video. We'd appreciate that. If you're part of the hashtag replay gang and you're watching this episode after the fact, so not live, hello. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like the video and leave your comments, questions, concerns, whatever you got down below in the comment section, because we do get to those. We do get to those as well. Thank you so much. Okay. Another quick announcement. So the Rain Gang Fantasy League that we started a couple of seasons ago, this season, it's coming down to the wire, guys. It's yes. Super Bowl week in our fantasy league, and we have one of our mods, actually, and one of my personal friends. Her name is Cal. She actually made the championship game, and she's going against Zach. So shout out to both of them. They're going to battle it off this week, and may the best player win. Shout out to both of those guys. Let me see. So also, I wanted to bring up something somebody else said here in the chat. No. Yeah, K-Dog, my guy Mod K-Dog says that is now 8 teams with over 500 that we've beaten by 14 plus points. That is an interesting stat that I saw earlier this week that really jumped off the screen to me, because for us to just be dominating teams like this and for it to be happening not in high scoring affairs, but we're the ones scoring a lot of points and our defense is holding the other team to not a whole lot of points. This team is firing on every single cylinder imaginable right now. And I think that we're clicking, we're peaking at the right time. And I think we kind of need this rest. I think we need this rest right now. And again, the word of the day is maturity. If
Mhm.
you want me to answer the question, will the Ravens regret sitting Lamar Jackson before the Steelers game? Will the Ravens, be hindered by having the 1 seed and having that bye? The answer is no. My answer is no. No. I think this team is more mature than they were in 2019. I think they're overall better than they were in 2019 on all fronts. So yeah, that's going to be my closing statement on that. Anything else from you, Alex?
Not really. For closing statements, thank you all for coming through. I mean, Happy New Year. Hope you guys had a safe. I'm glad we're all here. We had a safe New Year together. Spent it with some friends. That was very nice.
Yes.
Hope 2024 treats you all well. Hope it treats us to a nice little ring, nice little trophy. Um, but yeah, that's really all I got. Nothing crazy.
All right. Yeah. And so you guys know the drill. You guys can go ahead and follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast for the latest updates on the Ravens and this channel. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Sutton Def, like you see down below. You can follow this guy over here on Twitter or Instagram as Simply AS10. Pretty much anywhere. Just type in Simply AS10. I don't care if you're on Twitter and you type in Simply AS10.pro. I don't care if you're on Instagram, you just type in Simply AS10. You will find the guy. He is everywhere. He is everywhere.
Pinterest.
So yeah. Oh, you're on Pinterest now.
Nah, I think it's like my personal account.
I was about to say, what are you doing on there? This guy's doing everything.
No, I'm not on Pinterest. I need to download it because I've heard like it's a really good app.
It is. If you need some ideas or some inspiration, yeah, definitely download Pinterest for sure.
Okay.
Oh yeah, 100%. I've got tons of like lists and like categories on there that I can just go through and just pull inspo from. So I love it. But also make sure you guys go on manscaped.com, our sponsor. You can use our code PRP to save yourself 20% off of anything on the Manscaped website. Again, we know the holidays has come and gone. Might have a little bit extra holiday money left. You want to spend on some grooming care for yourself? Go ahead on manscaped.com and get yourself right. Use our code PRP. 20% off plus free international shipping. Again, we want to thank each and every one of you guys for coming out to this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. If you're part of the replay gang, we love you as well. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel before you get out of here. And with that being said, I'm going to let my guy Alex take us out.
Thank you. Coming through episode 218 of the Purple Rain Podcast. And as always, I'm not worried about the Chiefs signing Bucks. Isaiah Bucks from the Lions. I mean, it's practice squad move.
I wasn't even aware of that. I didn't even know that happened.
Yeah, cool. I guess.
Thank you.
Yeah. As always, thank you for coming through episode 218 of the Purple Rain Podcast. And as always, stay positive, test negative.
Yeah, and never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. It's been episode 218 of PRP. We're going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.